This is CityCast Twin Cities. I'm Sean McPherson, and here's what the cities are talking about.
M, is chili a soup?
Yes.
Amy, is chili a soup?
Yes.
See, you are normal people. I think chili is a soup the way tomato is a vegetable, which is to say, if you're a well-actually person, it's not a soup. But if you're a well-actually person, go to hell.
Don't come on our podcast. Get out of here.
I'm sure there'll be lots of fighting coming up in this episode because we are running down the top 5 movie theaters in the Twin Cities. We're also going to learn about the future of an urban farm and community center in South Minneapolis. And we're going to dive into a new guide to the Twin Cities for business travels. I'm with M. Castle, the owner-editor of Racket and a contributor here at CityCast. Welcome back, M.
A treat to be here as always, Sean.
I'm also with Amy Nelson, a longtime Twin Cities editor and journalist. She was the features editor at the Pioneer Press and the past editor of Minnesota Monthly, among her many duties. Right now, she's a freelance travel writer and just posted a piece for Wired magazine that we'll talk about in a little bit. Amy, it is such an honor to have you on CityCast Twin Cities. Welcome, and glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I grew up in a significantly more boring area than the Twin Cities. I grew up in Williamstown, Massachusetts. You didn't pick which movie theater you wanted to go to. You went to whatever one had Singles or Jurassic Park or Girl 6. Me and my brother were the only 2 people to see Girl 6 in rural Massachusetts on night 1. You are welcome, Spike Lee. You didn't pick where you went to the movies. You didn't pick where you went to high school. You just picked where the only thing showing was. It's so different in the Twin Cities. We are lousy with fantastic cinemas in the Twin Cities, and they're thriving at a time when a lot of folks had already sort of put movie theaters in the coffin. And we want to iron out a very arguable top 5 movie theaters in the Twin Cities. And first, before we get into the details, M, are you a movie theater enthusiast? Do you think it is the way to enjoy a movie and an important part of your life?
I absolutely am. I literally love going to the movies. It is such a fundamental part of my personality. Streaming is fine. You can watch movies at home. I do have a massive collection of VHS tapes that I have somehow talked about on this podcast before. But there is nothing that compares to the experience of going opening weekend to see a new scary movie or a new comedy and being scared or being delighted and laughing in a room full of people. I love it. It adds so much to the experience of going to the movies. I just love it.
And I would add being in a room with other people. I saw Spinal Tap last fall and just having everybody laughing at the absurd jokes, because they're all inside jokes too. So that was a blast. Ugh.
It's a communal experience when it's at its best. When it's at its worst, there is only crying babies and people texting at the same time.
Yeah, I actually was recently at a movie theater where a girl was on TikTok the whole time on her phone, which really seemed like it defeated the purpose. But you know what? Go ahead, multitask, girl.
Well, we are here to steer you in the right direction to fantastic cinemas that you really will enjoy and will get a lot out of. And M, you brought this idea. I want to find out the couple theaters that you will die on the hill to make sure they make this top 5.
Absolutely. My number 1, I am literally wearing their merch right now, is the Trilon in South Minneapolis. I think it's an 88-seat theater. It's incredibly small. They used to call it a micro cinema. I don't know if they still do, but they just do the best series of movies. The selection is so well curated. A couple summers ago, they did a whole series of Nick Cage movies that I went to many of. My friend Jordan went to all of them. They do great little movie passports for stuff they did a series recently called Nazis. We hate these guys. And if you went to all the movies and get your passport stamped, you get a little fun piece of merch. And they also do stuff every Halloween, they do a horror movie marathon. This summer, I went to their 80s Action-thon, which is 4 movies over the course of a day. And you're there and with a bunch of other freaks who will watch, 8 hours worth of 80s action together. It's just the best theater. I have so many good things to say about the Trilon, and volunteer supported. All the people taking your tickets, giving you popcorn, they're all volunteers. It's just the best vibe. I would die for the Trilon.
And M, this is in South Minneapolis, right on Minnehaha?
Yeah, right by Arbeiter Brewing and Moon Palace Books. It's a really great little area of Minneapolis over there.
All right, if that's the hill you'll die on, what about the foothill?
The Foothill for me is another one-room cinema. I kind of have a niche. I love the Heights in, I guess it's in Columbia Heights, way up northeast. If you have never been, the treat that it is, before every movie, they have a guy who plays an organ, like a classic organ that comes up out of the floor. And there's like the big curtains across the screen. And they also have a Dairy Queen next door. And you can like bring in a Blizzard or ice cream, which is such a fun little treat in the summer. I'm kind of like an old lady, I think, at heart. And it really speaks to my old lady, my inner old lady.
All right, Amy, I know that you've seen many movies in your day. Is it a fundamental part of your personality, as Em described? Are you a real cinema enthusiast?
I do love going to the theater, but I have to say it's not like a weekly thing for me. But actually, I was just on Saturday, I went to the Main and saw Green Blah, the history of punk rock in Green Bay. And that was, again, sold out. I also really love the Riverview in Minneapolis. Grew up, I kind of, in my early 20s, lived in that neighborhood. And so we used to go there all the time. So the retro snack bar and the retro feeling is super fun, too.
Also, their prices are so good.
Exactly. 50-cent popcorn, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they made a mint selling just popcorn during the pandemic because people think the popcorn is so good, and I tend to agree. And you might be wondering, we're heading into prime movie season. We're only a week away from Thanksgiving, and then we move into all the holiday movies. Movies are one of the most relaxing things you can do with your family, of which there are like 2. I don't know, play a non-political board game or see a movie, and otherwise it's just stressful a lot of the time. So this is the perfect time to think about where you can take in movies and where you can maybe get a little respite from what can be a very stressful time of the year. The Riverview I'd forgotten about, Amy, when I made my list, and this is great. And I would put the Riverview, the Trylon, and the Heights, and the Main a little bit in this set of theaters that do snobby stuff and they do accessible stuff.
Totally, yes.
Growing up, the art house movie things, they wouldn't show anything that was remotely interesting. It was all just, like Italian films with no subtitles from 1951. And it has changed. They're making accessible things, and they're still also doing great stuff for cinephiles. So I'm going to throw in My Hill and Foothill, and then we're going to try to iron out this list. Okay. The AMC Eden Prairie 18. You did not see that. Oh, okay. Em, you know what I'm talking about? Okay. There's a fireplace near the movie theater, which is very calming and comforting. There is a place to nurse newborns in the theater, which is very thoughtful, especially when these movies are like 3.5 hours long. Think about all the nursing that had to happen during that 4 horror movies that was happening at the Trylon. Where's Trylon's nursing room? So the food court is elite. They have like fast food places that time forgot, and also some classics that you need, and a Subway, which I would not voluntarily go to, but a lot of people do like a Subway situation. So for suburban perfection, AMC Eden Prairie 18. I was really happy that you were excited about this. You like
I go
this
to that
one?
theater a lot. Yeah. Especially for like first run movies where like I think it's one of the best. If I'm going to a first run movie, I'm probably going to that theater, or I'm doing the Edina Man. That's my other I'll leave Minneapolis to go to those theaters. Fine, I will leave.
I think I'm the only urinal user on the call. The Grandview Theater on Grand and Fairview has spectacular floor to ceiling, or not to the ceiling, but floor to my head urinals, and spectacular Diet Coke and comparatively reasonable prices. And it's my neighborhood, Grand and Fairview. I've seen a lot of movies there. It is special to me. Has anybody taken in a movie at Grand and Fairview before?
I
have, but not for a while. Yep.
I got to see these urinals, though.
Yeah.
Now I'm I really want to go, but I can't. How am I going to sneak in and check out the urinal situation?
A, I'll cover for you, but B,
okay.
They don't close the doors. They're visible. I don't think I think you could stand kind of near and look. I don't know why I know this, but I do believe they're visible even before you go into the bathroom.
Just to be clear, Sean is encouraging me to peep on the people using the urinals in the Grand Big Bath. Am I getting this correct? We got this.
I'm the owner editor of Racket. I need to know. What were you going to say, Amy?
Is it like the bathroom, the communal bathroom at the Varsity?
Those are great.
Yeah, those are my
beautiful
that's my
bathrooms.
favorite.
Yeah.
Can we do a series on that?
Yeah, top 5 bathrooms.
Top 5 bathrooms next week. Right now, I think we have
right.
the table set. So here's a couple. I feel like the Trilon and Riverview are non-negotiable.
Yeah,
are you
those
guys
gotta
comfortable?
go on there.
Okay.
Totally.
And I think a lot of people see movies in the burbs. I'd like to put AMC Eden Prairie in the mix.
I feel good about that.
Okay. The last time I went to the Heights, that was not an accommodating seat for the larger gentleman. And do you have any idea if they can handle this jelly, if you will?
I don't know, Sean. That's a great point.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to take them off just for that, but Heights, if you have made your seats bigger, please let me know. Okay, so we got Trilon, Riverview, and AMC Eden Prairie. Give me a push. I feel like the main is a huge deal, right?
I think we need the main, yeah.
Amy, are you with that? That was the one you brought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, they're part of the film festival society too. So
they do very special things that no one else does for film in this area. That leaves us with our fourth. So I think our options are the Heights, which is only getting docked for maybe not being accommodating to my butt. And then we have Grandview Theater. Is there anything else we want to put up for this top 5?
No. I think we got to do the Grandview, right? We have nobody else in St. Paul. The urinals, yeah.
Is Trilon 1? Can Trilon be 1? I was ready to put it as 1.
It's my number 1 for sure. I'm Trilon pilled.
Team Trilon.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm giving the main number 2 unless somebody speaks up. We're all happy with the main.
Good.
Okay. Riverview Theater, iconic, best popcorn in town. Number 3. AMC Eden Prairie, the fireplace. Number 4.
You're going to get some haters on that one, though.
On the AMC Eden Prairie, who's hating?
I'm sure they'll let you know.
People who live in St. Paul and have to drive all the way to Eden Prairie.
Okay, that's fair. And I did want to bring up Rosedale is spectacular because it is in the burbs, but you can get there on many bus lines. It is easier to get there than many movie theaters in the city. That having been said, the fireplace. So just direct all your hate mail.
I love that Sean's criteria are like completely not movie related. It's like urinals and fireplaces.
Yeah. How's the sound system? Yeah.
Don't care. They got that Dolby. I don't know. What am I peeing
in? That's my new feature. What am I peeing in by Sean McPherson. So number 5, Grandview, Grand and Fairview. All right. That's the top 5. Are you guys all ready for the hate mail?
Yes. Bring it.
We do want to hear from you, not just hate mail, but also recommendations. What's your favorite Twin Cities movie theater? What is the one we missed that you are screaming at your speakers right now for us forgetting about? Send us a text, leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. You might hear your question or your comment on a future episode. There's more news to discuss, and before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. Sometimes on Instagram, I'll see somebody like spending a day in the Twin Cities, and by that, they mean spending a half hour on Nicollet Mall and complaining because it's Sunday at 11 a.m. and they didn't have the world's best time on Nicollet Mall at 11 a.m. in downtown Minneapolis. And they come to this conclusion. They go, the Twin Cities kind of sucks. And I get so frustrated, but I don't necessarily do anything about it. I don't have the series of recommendations that I would really like to put in that person's hand to make sure they know how great the Twin Cities are. But Amy Nelson is actually doing that work, and we are so thankful for that. She knows the Twin Cities inside and out. That is not even up for discussion. She also wrote a great travel guide recently for Wired, and it's spectacular because it also speaks to what the modern traveler needs. How did this piece come about, Amy?
Yeah, actually, I kind of lucked into it. I was having dinner at Moochie's with a friend, and I checked my email, and I got a sort of important email from a Wired editor saying that they had somebody fall through, and could I do a guide to the Twin Cities in a few days, 3,000 words. I was like, sure.
Casual.
I can do that. Yeah. It's directed at tech travelers, their readers basically, but I tried to broaden it for anybody who reads Wired or just needs a city guide in general.
Amy, I was very interested in the coffee shop recommendations and the food recommendations portion of your list because I feel like that must have been impossible to whittle down. We have like so many options. So like, how did you even start figuring out how to make a list that wasn't just like 1,000 things?
Yeah, that was probably tough. But have you guys heard of the term office before?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know Coffus.
Coffee shop office is what Wired. They asked me to have some offices. I was like, what is that? Sure. Obviously, Spy House is a favorite in the Twin Cities. I had to include Caribou. I have a little bit of like best in show joke in there where I say, make sure you're at the right Caribou, not the one across the street if you're meeting somebody. Caribou is local. And then, I just kind of included some of my favorites. And I also sort of made the mistake of the Madden effect where I included one, Wesley Andrews, that is closing at the end of the year after my story came out. So
You jinxed him.
Sorry. R.I.P.
Amy.
Now, Amy, I often think that the folks that might be using this, you're worried that they might just sit at a hotel bar where nothing is special and nothing is unique, and again come to this conclusion that there isn't something special and unique about the Twin Cities. But frankly, as an insider who lives here and loves going out, I still learned a lot from your story, including this spot that I drive past all the time that my wife has been talking about, the Lodge of Lazarus Crow on West 7th and St. Paul. I have not been there. What am I missing?
Do you like having a cocktail in a funeral home? I mean, that's the vibe.
I
always bring a flask to a funeral.
That's what those after funeral dinners are for, the lunches.
We've got coffices and we've got coffins.
Coffins. Very good. Yeah, that opened, I want to say, a couple years ago, and it has this huge raven right in the smack dab center of it. And it is an escape room if you want to do an escape room. That is probably one of the better ones that I've done because it uses the actual funeral home vibe. They're pretty well known for their game nights and they have board games everywhere. And sometimes we bring our own. And their menu is really good too. Very vegan and very diverse.
So is that something like when people come visit you, would you take them there? Or like what are the things like when someone comes to town that you're like, we have to do X, Y, and Z? What is on your itinerary?
Yeah. And the funny thing is some of it didn't make it into my story, like the editing and the limiting. So I have Indeed, but not Insight Brewing. I have Surly, but not Summit. I don't have the Mall of America. I don't have Paisley Park. But I certainly would include those. Usually if somebody's coming to visit or like my daughter's home from college, we'll go to a show. And then like we've gone to the House of Balls. I didn't include that.
That's a great weird one. Yeah.
So another thing that I love to do is I bowl. So, there's some great bowling alleys around
I drag
here.
everyone who visits me to memory lanes without question.
Perfect. Perfect place. I also roller skate. So there's only 2 roller rinks left in the Twin Cities, main roller rinks. But I go to a Monday night season skater session in Burnsville.
Amy, do you want to hang out sometime?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't ask that of every person, but you sound awesome. So I'd really like to do that. I believe, am I correct that Keith Harris in Racket gave this write-up some love and was like, this is actually a very defensible list of things to do in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, we put it in one of our daily newsletters that we do every day that's just kind of like a roundup of the news around town. And we were like, listen, we get it. You're skeptical. Like Wired drops into town and they're like, here's what you have to do in the Twin Cities. And then we were reading it and we were like, oh, this is actually a really solid list. And they're like, oh, Amy wrote it. Okay. Yes. Like she is one of us. We can trust her.
Thank you. Yeah.
She's not some coastal elite parachuting in, telling us where to bowl.
We want to hear from you, listener. You're a savvy traveler, maybe not in the Twin Cities. This is where you call home. But if you are with somebody who's visiting for a couple days or even for an extended stay, what do you make sure they should do? What do you drag them along to? What places do you send them to? Send us a text or leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612 217-0637. And those comments might show up in a future episode. There's more news to discuss. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. There's a piece of land in the East Phillips neighborhood that has been in a state of limbo for well over a decade. In the news, you hear this site referred to as the Roof Depot because that was the longtime owner of the space. But when the warehouse closed, the city first wanted to turn it into a waterworks site. But the city was asked to instead sell it to the East Phillips Neighborhood Institute to turn it into an urban farm and community center. And the minute I heard about that potential sale, which is now years ago, I just thought, I know there's millions of dollars, but this is a no-brainer. This is an area that has been underserved significantly, and we're going to get into the fact that they've been chemically maltreated by what previously was at this site, and they have a high prevalence of asthma in the East Phillips neighborhood. You're hearing about this urban farm, and you're going, we're going to make this happen. We can pull this off. But we imagine that this is probably now not really a possibility because they ran out of time and money this week to make the sale happen. This warehouse is just off of Hiawatha. And again, the city bought the site back a number of years now in 2016. And that urban farm plan came to fruition in 2015. And lawsuits have happened. A lot of financial issues have happened. But after the legislature pulled back on some of the money that it had promised, EP&I, the East Phillips Neighborhood Institute, is short $5.7 million, and their deadline to purchase the Roof Depot was yesterday. This is a hard story to ignore because it has been on the front page on and off for many of years now. Amy and Em, have you been watching this struggle over the Roof Depot?
Yeah, definitely. I bike past the Roof Depot all the time. It's right off of the Greenway, and I just kind of think about it a lot. Like, it's one of those things where you pass it and you're like, I wonder what the latest is there. I wonder if this neighborhood group is going to be able to make it happen. I really want them to be able to make it happen, and I have concerns. It sounds like I should have concerns.
I'm curious what's taking so long? What are all these delays for, and why is there so much pushback?
I believe the delays have a lot to do with the lack of money and with the city of Minneapolis feeling that they have to be responsible financial stewards for a parcel of land that they've dumped a lot of money into and that they can't, in their estimation, give away for free. I want to dive into a little bit about why it would be a bad news in many people's estimation for it to be a waterworks facility, and a little bit of the history and the history of asthma for residents of the East Phillips neighborhood. In 1938, a chemical plant opened next to the warehouse, and they made arsenic-based pesticides that they wanted to use against grasshoppers. And when the wind would pick up, this would sprinkle these arsenic-based pesticides on the lawns of East Phillips. And they started the cleanup from that in 2009, but there's many children who still live with high rates of asthma and lead exposure. And then to top it off, it's not like outside of that you're in a huge green, beautiful place. You're in a spot that has a lot of highways and a lot of traffic going in all the time. And supposing that they were going to demolish this Roof Depot site to create a waterworks facility, which is off the table at this time, that might kick up some of this arsenic that was on site many, many years ago. If they were able to create this urban farm, which at this point is very unlikely, they could do that on top of this concrete pad, and whatever arsenic was below that pad would stay sealed. The city says they can demolish it without contamination. Steve Jansen, who's the vice president of environmental consulting, the firm Braun Intertech, said he views arsenic as a minor issue on the property. At this point, the city is looking to secure a new place for the water treatment facility. And then you might be wondering, what's going to happen to this actual parcel of land? They're going to put it up for sale. Here's how I feel. I feel like an opportunity to do something really great in a neighborhood that so obviously deserves something really great to happen is slipping through our fingers because of not a paltry amount of money. $5 million is a large amount of money, but it's a navigable amount of money. And I'm just heartbroken that the city, and it seems like everybody's trying, but they can't find a way to get to the same, square.
That's what's killing me is yes, $5 million is a lot of money. I'm not acting like I have $5 million lying around. But when you think about the things that we are able to budget for as a state and as a city and a community, does that seem crazy? I don't think it does. I don't know. It really makes me sad.
we're at a moment where when folks drive through Phillips whose heart is not invested in the neighborhood, they go, what are they doing? What can they do? This is terrible. This is horrible, because it is an area where you see a lot of visible houselessness, a lot of visible drug addiction. You see a lot of thriving and a lot of positive stories, but you see the opposite as well. I don't think I'm pulling punches by saying that. The problem is you go, hey, we're 5 million short of doing something really significant. Storefronts, youth opportunities, employment, like a thriving hub in an area that could use it. If I'm pointing fingers, I'm mainly pointing at the legislature, because they said they were going to pay this money and then they reneged on it. I'd like to read something from Kyle Stokes from MinnPost, who really summarized it in a great quote that was pulled for this. Here's Kyle's words. In East Phillips, residents had a vision for housing, commercial space, and a new food source in a historically marginalized neighborhood. Nearly 3/4 of the area's residents are Latino, Black, and American Indian or Alaska Native. 1/4 live below the poverty line. Why should they be forced to scale back their ambitions again? I don't have a fun, and I don't know why we put this one third.
We should talk about urinals.
There's not a fun kicker to this, because it's just a moment where a lot of people working and trying to make this possible were not able to come up with it. And the biggest pockets in the situation is the legislature, and they pulled back their support. Urinals. That's all for today here on CityCast Twin Cities. I'm your host, Sean McPherson. Amy Nelson, this is your first time on CityCast Twin Cities. It was great to hang out with you, and I look forward to hanging out with you outside of this podcast.
Roller skating, yeah.
M. Castle, it's always a joy to have you on the podcast. Thank you for being here today.
A treat and a pleasure.
You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Twin Cities newsletter. If you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with a fellow movie theater enthusiast? We'll see you back here tomorrow for more news from around the city.